Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Great guest today. You all know Shaun Clarida, the Giant Killer. Shaun is coming off his second pro win at the New York Pro. Very good win. It was a tough battle between him and Zane Watson. I think there were was it like 24 guys in the class too, Shaun?
Close to like 25, 30 guys.
This is a big show. The 212 was actually bigger and it's in a lot of ways more competitive than the Open. So congratulations for winning that, first of all, Shaun.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, I have to imagine that show has sort of a special significance. How long have you been going to watch that show?
I remember going to watch the show as an amateur back in 2010, and this is when I believe Rolly Winkler had won the Open.
Yep.
Kevin English had won the 212 at the time. Kathy LeFrancois had won the women's bodybuilding.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just a fan and an amateur watching in the audience and saying, just being blown away by the size of Rolly and Kevin, and saying, you know what, one day I'll hopefully get my pro card and be compete on that stage. And obviously it finally happened where I got my pro card in 2012. Yep. And I knew right away, like, I'm taking a year off. I'm going to make my debut at the New York Pro 2014. And I did that. I came in 13th. I mean, I was happy with that. My first pro show, not met expectations. I was only 154 pounds at the time. Yeah.
Can I ask you, what were you, 174 this time?
I weighed in at 174 this year.
Wow, yep. Okay. Now, I don't know if I've ever directly asked you, how tall are you, Shaun? 5'2". Okay, because we've argued back and forth. Okay, I take it back. I was telling people you were 5 foot, so my bad, I take it back. 5'2", okay. It's more impressive if you were 5 foot and 174, but, still not bad, 5'2", 174. So back up to last year at the New York Pro, it was a really close battle, like last year too. And, I thought you were getting the win. I think I didn't jinx you or anything, I hope, but, I came up to you after the judging and I said, I think you got this by a mile because, to me, Ronnie wasn't the best. He's got a great physique, but that's not the best Ronnie I'd ever seen. And you were it was the best Shaun Clarida I'd ever seen. And I thought that beat Ronnie that day. But so take us back to a little over a year ago. How were you feeling after that show, and where did you go from there? Because you ended up going on and getting a win that season anyway.
Yeah, it was a tough show, tough loss, obviously, to Ronnie. But I knew going in that Ronnie was a veteran of the Open stage and an Olympian, and he would just come, making 212. I knew he was going to be just dense and full and just big. Yeah. So I knew it was going to be a battle wherever I landed, hopefully in that first call-out. Got into the first call-out. I gave what I could, but I know I was giving up a lot of weight and a lot of size to Ronnie. And, props to him. But I do believe timing is everything. So it was his time, obviously, to win it last year. And obviously this year was my time to win it. Last year, after the show, I went out with my family and my coach, Matt Jansen, who everyone knows. Yeah. And we said, what's the game plan for next year? And he said, we're coming back this year, to win the New York Pro title. So obviously, after that, we did go into Dallas, and we got the win there and qualified for last year's Olympia. Went into Olympia, obviously a place where I did 9th. Yeah. And then I came home, then I flew to Kuwait. I did the Kuwait Pro, placing 3rd behind Ashkenani and Jose, which is amazing, absolutely amazing.
And then I got to ask you, while you're in Kuwait, did you get a chance to check out Oxygen Gym?
I did check it out for a day, but unfortunately, I did get sick while I was out there. I got some food poisoning. Oof. So I actually got food poisoning the day before the show.
Wow.
I ended up not being able to eat my meals. I ended up dropping 10 pounds overnight. And anyone who's ever had food poisoning, it's not fun. Right. It's not at all. And my coach wanted me to pull out the show. He said, you're sick. I don't want you going on stage and passing out. He said, just pull out. And I was like, we came too far. I flew 20 hours. Yeah. I'm going to do it.
Wow, man, that sucks, man. I mean, it's bad enough being sick at home, but you were all the way around the world, and I've had food poisoning a couple of times, and stuff's coming out of both ends, and you just feel like death. It sucks,
it was horrible. But we made it to the stage. Placed 3rd again, like I said, behind Ashkenani and Jose. I was very happy with that. And I came home. I was feeling just a little bit better, and I said, you know what? Let's make a push, for the Phoenix Pro and hopefully get a qualification for 2018 Olympia. Yeah. So that was the goal, going to the Phoenix show off the momentum from obviously winning a show that year and placing well at the Olympia and the Kuwait Pro, and hopefully get a win in Phoenix to qualify early. Unfortunately, I did take a 2nd place there, and so we were back to the drawing board for this year, and obviously New York was on our mind. So
yeah. So I'm always at the New York Pro. Obviously, it's a pretty close show for me. And this year I think it was close again. And after the judging, I thought Zane had it. To be honest with you, you both have great physiques, very very different physiques. I think the judges have one of the hardest jobs in the world, pro bodybuilding judges, because you can have two guys that are just equally great, but have totally different looks. You and Zane are apples, oranges, pears, bananas, whatever. Very, very different.
Absolutely.
I thought you had like a little film of water during the judging. At the night show, Milos is sitting next to me, and I've said this before. I have a pretty good eye for physiques, but Milos, I can't hold a candle to that guy. He's like elbowing me. He's like, look, Clarida's got sharp, or Clarida got fuller. I think Clarida's got it now. And I'm like, yeah. The rejudging round, I often thought it's complete bullshit, this confirmation round, rejudging, whatever they call it. But in this case, it showed that, he had maybe stayed the same where you had really improved. And I don't know how close it was on the score sheets. Did you look later to see who was ahead in the judging and who pulled ahead where?
Not exactly sure with the scoring sheet, but I knew it was close in the morning. Yeah. And I didn't want to do anything crazy. I did want to tighten up for the night show and come back as, better, if not, than what I was. So obviously we went back to the room, talked to Matt, checked my weight, see where I was at. We put a certain amount of foods in my body, obviously no fluids or anything, just trying to stay tight. Took a nap, relaxed, and just stay calm the whole time. And I definitely feel like I came back to the night show a little bit tighter, a little bit drier than I was in the morning. Yeah. And I just, went out and gave what I can, and did my best.
And winning that show, I got to ask the generic question. How did it feel? Because I know that's a show you've been dreaming of winning, I bet, for, this is almost a decade now you've been going to watch it.
That's just it. It was a dream come true. I said, this is my 5th year doing the New York Pro. If anyone's followed my history, I was 13th, then I was 7th, then I was 3rd, then I was 2nd.
Okay. So
I was close, and I was like,
that's perfect.
One more time. Let's just do it one more time and see what happens. And, it was just a relief, man, winning that show. And, again, I've seen many great champions, Jose, Guy Tristanino, Kevin English, have won that show and gone on to have amazing Olympian careers. So, obviously, I'm trying to follow their path by creating my own path and hopefully do well at this year's Olympia.
Yeah, this is, you've been obviously getting better and better as, when I met you, I think you're like 120 pounds or something. You've just improved. I think that's why a lot of people have so much respect and admiration for you, because they see how hard you've worked, and you put out these training clips and everything where you train like, they call you a mini Ronnie Coleman, and I think that's sort of accurate. You train so heavy, so hard, and you've busted your ass. You clearly were not meant to be a huge guy. You started out. What did you start out when you were training, like 100 pounds or something?
I graduated high school at 110 pounds.
Yeah, so it's not like you were one of these guys that just looked at weight and blew up like some of them that I've known. Yeah. So you get that extra level of respect from the 99% of people out there who have average genetics and have to fight and scrap for everything. Now, obviously, you don't have average genetics. Look at you, those round muscle belts. Everything's really nicely put together. It's a very pretty physique. Also, with size, then that's a deadly combination.
Thank you.
We'll get to the Olympia at the end. We'll save that for the end. But before we get to the reader questions or the forum member questions, a couple topics. First of all, lean back so we can read that logo on your shirt. Jacked Factory. What is that all about? What's going on?
That's my new supplement sponsor. I just signed with them a couple months ago. Company based out of Canada. Very small company, but they're very up and coming. Amazing products. I reached out to a few companies this past year, and everyone kind of just maybe not, sorry, come back, whatever. And they actually believed in me. They believed in my vision. I believed in them. I tried all their products before even signing with them, because I have to like the products and stand behind them before I sign with anybody. Right. So again, I'm very happy to be on board with them, and along with my other sponsors, Straight Jacket USA, Clean Eats Meal Prep, and as well as GI Nation.
Okay. The other question I want to ask, because I follow you on Instagram, and you gave a lot of credit in a post the other day to your girlfriend, fiance, Rosangela.
Oh, girlfriend.
Girlfriend. How long you guys been together, and what, how supportive has she been? What role has she played in your success?
Ryan, I don't know how she does it. I would have left me a long time ago. To be honest with you, we've been together for years now. And
How many years?
Over 3 years now.
Okay, so bodybuilder 3 years. That's like 30 years in regular years, but.
many preps, man, but this was the hardest prep by far. And I'll be the first to admit I was an absolute asshole to the entire. Not obviously, I was, it was grouchy. I was grouchy. I was hungry. I was tired. There were days that I wouldn't even say a single word to her because I was just so mentally out there from the diet. But at the end of the day, she always checked on me, make sure everything's okay. If I needed anything, if she wanted me to prep my food, I give so much credit to her. She's my training partner every single day. I don't train with anybody but her. I'm very blessed and very grateful to have her in my corner.
I mean, you wrote that she was up at 4:30 in the morning on the step mill with you?
Every morning.
If that's not dedication, man, because I'd be like, screw you. You go do your cardio. I'm not getting up for that shit.
Single cardio session, didn't miss a single training session. Wow. Every day, Ron. It's crazy.
So you say she's your training partner. I mean, you train heavy. So she's spotting you on these like 170-pound incline dumbbell presses and all that?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys see the videos. She's the only one I train with. She's the only one I trust, to be honest with you. She knows my body. She knows how I like to be pushing and when to push and when not to push. You train with some of these guys, and they're doing the weight for. I say, spot me a certain way, and they're just doing the weight for you. It doesn't do it for me. She gets it, and that's the only reason why I train with her every single day.
Yeah. So you say this is the hardest prep. What really made it harder? Were you doing more cardio, eating less? What really made it that difficult?
We started cardio literally, I believe, at 20 weeks out or 17 weeks out. So it was cardio every single day. The diet was tough. We was low carb for like damn near 8 to 9 weeks. We really, really pushed for this show. We got my weight. We actually on purpose got my weight down to where I was. Let me backtrack a little bit. In Kuwait, after I obviously was sick and lost all that weight, I got down to around 165, which normally is damn near 10 pounds lighter than what I usually am. But my conditioning was absolutely on point, which is why I placed third. The goal Matt and I put together was to get that same conditioning in Kuwait, obviously without being sick. So we got my weight down to about 168 for this show, which is low. So we really pushed the cardio, really dropped the food. And again, the reason why I was an absolute asshole this entire prep, I had nothing going on up here. So that was obviously the goal coming into the show, and that's the reason why it was so tough this year. And again, just knowing that, I was so close last year, I really wanted to be at my absolute best. So we gave everything to this prep. Yeah.
Now, when people weigh in, some of these guys, like Zane, for instance, he hates weighing in close to the showtime because he wants to carb up. Like, he's very excited about the Olympia, for example, because he says he can get up to like 225, 230. They weigh you guys in on Wednesday in the late morning, I think it is. Is that right? Yeah. And then you guys get on stage Friday night, so that's a long time to eat up. I mean, for someone like you who really, you don't have to worry about getting down to 212, is it an issue for you? Do you like being able to weigh in and compete right away, or do you like having more time to do whatever it is you need to do?
We don't care about the weight, the scale, none of that stuff, right? We just worry about bringing my best, whatever. Yeah, these guys have time to fill up or whatever they want to call it, whatever. But a lot of these guys end up spilling over, where we keep it pretty tight the whole way through. So we don't really do a big carb up, to be honest with you. We'll carb up little by little by little, and Matt's checking in on me every couple of hours, make sure I'm not spilling over, make sure I'm not holding enough water. It doesn't matter to me, to be honest with you. I waited the New York Pro fully dressed, got on the scale, my sneakers and everything. It doesn't faze me. Because
I think guys, the fans especially get in their head that the 212 competitors who have an advantage are the ones who weigh in, who have to really struggle to make weight, and then they can fill out. But if you think about it, it's like you said, then you got to worry about spilling over, and plus you had to do, what did you have to do to get down to 212 if it's that tough for you? You had to. I've heard of guys that they couldn't eat for like 2 or 3 days, or in saunas. So they're beating up their bodies to get to the weight and then trying to get them normal again, whereas you're sort of just doing what you're doing day to day.
My body was fresh. I was just coasting into the show. I had no stress of making weight or where my body was. I didn't cut any food. I never did a zero carb day ever in my life.
Wow.
The entire prep, to be honest with you.
Wow.
So I had no stress, and literally the whole entire year has been stress-free. I don't know if you noticed, but this past year, as opposed to other years, I didn't post any updates. No one knew I was doing this show at all.
Yeah.
Where recent years, I would post updates and progress pictures and all that stuff. This year, I told Matt, we're not doing any of that. I'm going back to my old way of doing things. Just train my ass off, show up to the show, and that's it. I didn't want people, emailing me or texting me, hey, how you feeling? How you looking? I didn't want distractions. I don't want people talking about me on forums. So again, people started talking about the New York Pro and who was doing what. And Zane obviously put out his pictures, so they knew he was doing it. But at that time, no one knew I was doing it yet, up until that Friday. And that worked well for me. And that definitely helped keep my mind stable the whole time and just stay focused.
And again, I think you make a good point is, everyone thinks it's good to post all these pictures and videos and get a lot of hype for yourself going, get everyone talking about you. But it's just like you said, then you got somebody's going to pick something apart, someone's going to be negative. You're going to have to deal with a lot of different things going on, whereas you just focused on prepping for the show and being able to be your best on the show. So this social media thing can definitely be a double-edged sword.
It's crazy, man. I guess the better you do in the industry, the more hate mail you're going to get, the more negative comments you're going to get. Yeah. And I've learned to just not deal with it, to be honest with you. I'll see the comments. I don't respond. Right. At this point in time in my career, it doesn't faze me anymore. Back in the day, I would respond and I'll get angry, but then I sit back and say, what's the point of that? Yeah. I'm going back and forth with these people who I've never met in my life who probably kill me.
Yeah, it's some 15-year-old kid, never touched a weight going, ha-ha, I got Shaun Clarida mad. Yes! Yeah, I mean, 7-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath. Who gets more hate than that guy? It just goes to show you. It doesn't matter how good you are or whatever. They're still going to. All right, let's get to some questions. Michael Edwards, where did you grow up? Do you have any brothers or sisters? First question.
I have an older brother and younger sister. I grew up in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Okay, he's got a lot of Jersey questions here. Number 2, being from New Jersey, have you ever been to the legendary Pro Source store on Route 37 in Toms River?
No, I've never been there.
Is it legendary? I don't know.
I don't think I've heard of it, to be honest with you.
Being from New Jersey, have you been to the legendary Strong and Shapely Gym in East Rutherford?
Absolutely. I think that's where I met you originally, Ron.
Yeah, at the MD Barbecue, 2009. Yeah. Yep. What's your main gym now, though?
Signature Fitness in Belleville and Powerhouse in South Hackensack.
Okay.
So I have 2 gyms now.
Is there one like for leg day, one for back day, one for
yeah, exactly.
You're a real meathead like me. I love it. Another question. You're a wrestler, but do you watch or have you watched WWE?
WWF back in the days.
Yeah, WWF. Yeah, I mean, that's back when it was good. I mean, we were kids then too. You're still how old are you, Shaun?
35.
Yeah, you're a kid. You're just coming into your stride right now, guy.
Yeah.
He has more questions, but first he interjects. Just want to say that you're the real giant killer, not Danny Padilla, Momo Benaziza, or Lee Priest. I would argue that you were all giant killers in your own way.
Yeah, exactly. We're all in our own way.
Okay, more questions from him. What was more rewarding, winning your pro card or winning the New York Pro?
That's a tough question, to be honest with you. I mean, I knew that I was a good bantamweight that could probably get my pro cards at bantamweight, but not sure exactly where I go from that. Yeah. But thinking about it, the New York Pro is the show that I've been wanting to win since I was an amateur. Yeah. So that was, I was emotional on stage. I didn't cry when I won my pro card, but I definitely cried when I won the New York Pro this year. So I would say New York Pro.
I'm going to back up, too. When you turned pro as a bantamweight, the class had already moved from 202 to 212. So you knew you were, at the time, would you turn pro at like 135, 140 pounds? 143. 143, okay. So you were at the limit of the bantamweight class, but still, I'm sure a lot of people were saying, it's too light. You're not going to be a good 212 pro. Did you have doubt in your mind, or did you know eventually you could be good enough and do well in that division?
You hit on the head with that, Ron. So many people kept saying, why do you want your pro card? You're not going to do well. Even after I won the show or won my pro card, people were saying, well, congratulations, your career is over. There's no bantamweights doing well in the IFBB. I'm like, you know what? That's not me. I knew that if I put the work in, the time in, and the effort, that eventually I'll do well. Not sure, how well I do if I win a pro show, but I knew eventually I'll be a good pro in some fashion. And I've seen guys like Dexter Jackson, Marvin Ward go on to have great careers and do very well in the IFBB. So why can't I?
I mean, Dexter, Mr. Olympia, 5-time Arnold Classic champ, most wins of any pro, and he was a bantamweight. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go. Do you think you can ever win the 212 Mr. Olympia?
Yes.
Okay. And why would you be competing in if you didn't think you could win, right?
Exactly. That's the goal.
I always that always strikes me as odd when people say, "Do you ever think you can win?" I mean, if you didn't think you were capable of being the best, why would you be putting all this time and effort? You're pouring your life into this.
Exactly.
Silly questions. Where do you rank Phil Heath on the all-time great list of Mr. Olympia winners?
Phil's one of the best. But if I think about numbers, I want to say obviously Ronnie and Lee Haney have 8 titles.
Yeah.
And I would say Phil is right there, right behind him with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then obviously we've got Dorian. So he's definitely one of the best. I would say with top 5, top 6, in my personal opinion.
That's a tough question because people ask, I think that comes up all the time. And it's different eras. I mean, how do you compare? Dorian was his era. Ronnie was his era. You had Jay. Now you have Phil. They're all different eras. I mean, it's
different look. Yeah.
Best baseball player of all time, best basketball. I mean, they were all awesome in their own eras. Okay, almost done with his questions, I promise. You now look like a shorter version of Dexter Jackson. Are you a fan of Dexter?
Absolutely. But he's my favorite bodybuilder of all time. He's the one guy I admired coming up in the sport, again, because he was a bantamweight. And he knows that I've reached out to him. He actually reached out to me before the New York Pro this year, wished me well, and said if I'm in shape, that no one can beat me. And obviously he reached out after the show congratulating me on the win. So, I love Dexter. He knows that. I'm a big fan.
Cool. Last question from Michael Edwards. Will you ever post anything other than R&B music?
I do music that goes to my body type, and I feel like my body's more aesthetic. And I follow guys like Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, Lee Labrada, and these guys have a classical look, and I believe I do have a classical look as well. So I feel like that music fits my body type better. I'm not a hard rock and roll, heavy rap body type guy. I admire that music, but I don't feel like I can get on stage and really pose to that.
I love that hard rock music and stuff. That's all I listen to, but you can't pose to it. Like all you can do is hit most musculars and side chests and you can't put anything graceful and really aesthetic together with that kind of music. So
unless you're like a Branch Warren who has that freak factor, that Branch can probably get away with that.
Okay, I love Branch. I just did a Ronline with him.
Yep.
But his routines, they're not great posing routines. Branch is not a great poser.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be offended when I say that. He poses the way that suits his physique and to the music that suits his physique. But I've those type of routines, I never end up at the end going, wow, what a great routine. Like, someone like, Kai, I forget Kai because that's a whole other. I don't even think those are posing routines. Those are like performances. Yeah. Cedric, Zane's a good poser. Hide Yamagishi, Dennis Wolf. Who else?
Terrence Ruffin just had an amazing routine.
Yeah, that was up in Toronto. Those are routines where you're just like, wow, they just really display the physique so well and so artfully. Because this is supposed to be an art and a sport. Okay. Fabian Gym Food. First, I want to say I have a lot of respect for Shaun and what he has accomplished. To me, that is real bodybuilding, dealing with the body you have and making the best of it. Question number 1. What was the biggest obstacle he had to overcome in his career?
And just the non-believers and naysayers who said I couldn't do it, who said I couldn't win a pro show, I wouldn't do well. And even to this day, I still, again, the negative comments and people saying, yeah, he won, but he wasn't this or he wasn't that. Just dealing with those people. But again, I use it as motivation, to be honest with you. I don't really think about it. I watch it, I look at it and say, okay, I'll just, keep proving myself right. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Hey, just as when I was interacting with those people, I was so miserable because you can't win. You just can't because they always have a comeback and it's LOL and this and that. And it's just, you're so much better just not engaging and doing your thing and just focusing on you and positivity.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. That's the next question. How does he deal with negativity on social media?
I don't. I'll read the comments and then keep moving.
Yeah. Okay. That's the best thing to do. Here we go. Which body part are you most proud of and do you think is your strong point?
Arms, for sure.
Arms, okay. Now, were they always good, or were they something that got good later on in your career?
They always had great shape and a great peak to them, and just had to put on the size, obviously. Yeah. But they've always been a strong body part of mine.
Okay, so the flip side of that, which body part do you think is lagging and has been the hardest for you to develop?
I would say my calves and my chest.
Okay.
Those are 2 areas I'm still trying to bring up to this day.
You have a lot of good company out there. A lot of people struggle. Calves, I think that's like 90% of people out there wish they had better calves. And yeah, chest. I mean, your chest is pretty damn good, but yeah, I know you want it better. Okay. How many calories do you eat in the off season versus dieting?
We don't really count calories, to be honest with you, but in the off season, I don't really have a set plan. I kind of eat whatever I want, and obviously I'll keep my diet food all year round, but I'll eat, my carb intake in the off season, 4 or 5, 3, 4, 5,000 grams of carbs in the off season. I have cheat meals every single day if I wanted to. I have, my favorite, which is ice cream and Fruit Loops every night before bed.
Yeah.
And obviously in season, I would say my carb intake, I would say close to about 15 to 2,000 grams per day, and obviously that will dwindle down toward the end of my prep.
Not grams, not 2,000 grams of carbs a day.
Yeah,
2,000 grams of carbs a day.
Night before the Dallas Pro, literally this last year, we did, I think, over 1,200 grams of carbs before the show.
Okay, so in the off season, you're doing like 8,000 calories a day just from carbs. Wow. So you're putting away over 10,000 calories a day in the off season, it sounds like.
Close to it. My metabolism is like this, Ron. It just.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually the next question. The next part of the question is, do you think you eat less than other pros because you're lighter? But it sounds to me like you actually eat a lot more than a lot of guys I know who are 50, 60, 80 pounds heavier than you.
Well, if I miss a meal or two, I lose 5, 6 pounds instantly. So I have to continuously keep eating and keep pounding the food just to maintain my size and my weight. And obviously, when you're dieting, it gets even worse because you're doing cardio and you're training at night, so you have to put in more food now to make sure my weight, stays where it needs to be. So we do check my weight on a regular basis, not for obviously show reasons, but for food reasons. Yeah. Because if my weight gets to a certain point, we know we need to bring the food back up. And if we're at a certain point where the weight's staying where it's at, then we're okay. So.
You know who also is very similar. Flex Lewis has said many times if he misses a couple meals, he drops 5 to 8 pounds like that.
Instantly. Yeah. Instant. I mean, I float 2 to 3 pounds a night regardless anyway. Yeah. So I miss a meal. I mean, that's gonna kill me.
Don't miss meals then. Okay, so that's all from Fabian. Bete Ona. I think he's in Spain. How is your training? Do you use machines or free weights for back development? So he likes your back.
I'm a big believer in heavy compound, weights, T-bar rows, dumbbell rows, all the compound movements. So what I do train with John Meadows. Anyone knows that I train the Mountain Dog training. So John has me. We were doing 2 back days a week where we're doing more compound movements. Again, the dumbbell rows, barbell row, all that stuff. And then my second back day would be more cables and more machine work.
It's kind of similar to the way Ronnie Coleman did it too.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever trained with John? Just curious.
Oh, absolutely. And it was brutal both times. It was brutal, Ron.
Was he out to you, or did you go to Ohio?
I was in Ohio with him one time, and then he was here in Jersey. Actually, after he got his pro card back at the Team U, we trained the next day at Bev Francis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So did you go to that Elite Fitness that he trains at?
I was at his powerhouse out there, I believe it is.
Okay, I think he trains a couple different places, but
yeah.
I mean, they have awesome. It's all powerlifting, big, monstrous guys and crazy equipment out there. Did he use the taser on you at all?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? No.
Oh,
He's put out videos where there's like 3 or 4 of them trained together, and they'll be doing like rows or something and get another rep. They'll tase them. I'm not kidding. This is a real thing.
Yeah.
I think it was just for the video. I don't think they do that every day. Do you get in shape easily, or do you need tons of cardio?
I can say I get in shape pretty easily, but we did push it to the extreme this year to really get in even harder than what I'm used to. But I would say for the most part, I can get ready for a show, and I would say maybe 10 weeks.
Okay. How much of your cardio is done like fasted first thing in the morning with no food?
Every single cardio session is fasted.
Doesn't that suck?
To be honest with you, I'd rather get up, get it done, and go home and start eating my meals. And this way, when I train at night, I don't have to worry about it.
Okay, fair enough. Who inspired you to train and be a bodybuilder?
I was never a bodybuilding fan, to be honest with you. I was a wrestler in high school, and then I went to college. I went to Rider University, a D1 wrestling program in New Jersey. Yeah. And I was one of those guys, again, I was a lighter guy. So when all my teammates were outside running to cut weight, I was in the gym training. So in the midst of training, I was a bodybuilder who was at my gym. His name was Tom Garuba, and I wish I knew where he was today because I want to thank him for everything. He is the one guy who introduced me to the sport, showed me the magazines, showed me all his bodybuilding trophies, his videos, everything. He's the one that got me ready for my first show. And that, you know, I wish I knew where he was today because.
Well, how do you spell his last name? Somebody listening to this might know who he is. I
know the name Tom Garuba. He used to live
in
Ewing, New Jersey back in the day. Okay. But he was the one guy that got me into the sport.
Okay. Last guy that asked questions was Mac. Do you plan on getting bigger?
Not extremely bigger. I know I'll never be 212 when I die. I know if I get to that point, my body's just going to look like crap. Yeah. I would say I have another maybe 10 pounds or so. I would say 180, 185 on stage, yeah. And I'll be good there. And I think I'll be even more competitive at the Olympia level.
I mean, looking at you now, do you really think you need to be any bigger?
I think a few areas. Again, my chest needs to come up a little bit more. I want to put a little bit more size in my back. Yeah. My calf, and then I would say once I do that, then the weight will obviously come up a little bit. Right. But I want to make sure my midsection is still good. I want to make sure my lines are still good. My balance is still good. But again, I've won shows at 150 pounds and 160 and 170. So even if I put on maybe 4 or 5 pounds from now till whenever, I'll be fine with that as long as I'm improving my body parts.
Now, how well have you been able to keep your waist in check? Does it, do you still measure close to the same as when you were competing 40 pounds lighter a long time ago? Is your waist still close to that?
It's close, but it's a little bit bigger, obviously. But we're making sure to keep that in check now more so than ever. Yeah. As the weight does go up. So obviously after each cardio session in the morning, I'm doing ab work as well. I do wear a belt when I train. I'm practicing my breathing and all that stuff, and inhaling and exhaling. And John's helping me with that as well to make sure that stays tight.
Now, do you wear one of those waist trainers, the Squeams?
No. That's not
yeah, no. I think they're stupid too, but some people swear by them, so I had to ask. So here we are. You just won. You got your Olympia qualification, but there's still all these shows around. Are you done until the Olympia, or what are you doing?
That was the plan. Get the New York Pro win, get the qualification, and shut it down. I prepare for Olympia. Give everything to Olympia. I do better when I'm fresh, as opposed to other years when I've won pro shows and competed. My body was just tired for Olympia. I think now that we have pretty much a full prep, 15 weeks, give or take, to prepare for it, my body's going to be 100% fresh as long as I stay healthy and stay safe, obviously. And I think it's going to be a much better package than we brought to the New York Pro.
See, I always wondered when you qualify for the Olympia 15, 16 weeks away from it, which is basically a full prep, period of time, how do you manage that when you're in contest condition at 16 weeks out, which you were? What do you do? Do you take some time off from training and the diet for a couple weeks, or how do you carry that condition all the way to the Olympia without flattening out and burning out?
Well, I can tell you, we actually did it now. Actually, we took about a week off from the gym completely. About a week and a half or so off from the diet completely. I still managed to do cardio every single morning because obviously I'm introducing more food and fluid back to my body. So I didn't want to blow up like a blowfish as I've done in the past and get sick. Yeah. So now that we are back on a diet, technically my food is much higher. So we're kind of going back to the beginning where I'm doing, again, high carbs every single day, cardio every single morning. And then obviously as we get closer and closer and closer, we'll start tapering down with the food and obviously increasing the cardio. So we took a mini break, I guess you can say, after New York to let my body, rest up. But now we're kind of getting back into things now.
Cool. Okay. So this is going to be hopefully a very, very different Mr. Olympia for you than Mr. Olympia Pass. Do you feel like you're going to head into this one with a little more momentum, a little more chance to do well than the past ones?
Absolutely, because we're going in not just with a win, but with a New York Pro win. Yeah. And I feel that this is probably the third biggest show behind the Olympia and the Arnold's. Again, I have the momentum. I have a full prep to get ready for it. My body's going to be fresh. Mentally, I'm in a better place. One thing I'm doing differently aside from past years is I'm actually just focusing on the show, whereas in the past I had to work, I had a full-time job and all that. I don't have that anymore, so now I have the benefit of being able to just sleep, eat, train, pose every single day and focus on the show. So our goal for this Olympia, obviously, is first call out top 5, top 6 this year. Top 5, obviously, because we like to qualify for the next year.
Sure.
even sixth place would be amazing, better than what I was last year, which is nice.
All right. So you thanked your girl, you thanked your new supplement company. Anybody else that you want to acknowledge? It's Matt Jansen obviously played a big role for you. Who else? Yeah. Anybody you want to thank or acknowledge? Here's a chance.
Yeah, obviously my sponsors again. Jack Factory, Clean Eats, Straight Jacket USA, GI Nation. Obviously my coaches, both Matt Jansen, who does all my nutrition, and as well as John Meadows, who handles all my training. Yeah. And again, just all my friends, family, and all the supporters around the world. I do get some amazing messages and comments that people kind of motivate me, inspire me as well as I do them. So I want to thank everybody for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely one of the most inspirational guys out there, because a lot of us aren't the tallest, we're not the heaviest, and to see someone that's in that mold who's been able to get better through sheer hard work and determination year after year after year. You just don't give up. You just keep plugging away, and it's paid off. New York Pro is just a perfect example of how the place you started out of the top 10, and just gradually, bam, 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 and now you're the champ. And the Olympia, I think it's going to be a very, very different Olympia for you this year. I'm excited to see how you do.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Obviously, I know the heavy hitters. Obviously, Flex is the king. You've got Ashkenani, you've got Jose, you've got David, you've got Derek. But again, they're improving, and I'm improving as well. I know that there's, obviously Flex is number one. I don't see myself winning Olympia this year, but I definitely want to be in that mix this year in the first call out, and eventually, hopefully, when these older guys decide to, step off the stage, that I can make my way into that top 4, top 3, and eventually, do battle with whoever's in that number 1 spot at the time.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, because Jose, Dave Henry, some of these guys, they've been around a long, long time, and they're still on their game. They're not slipping or anything, but they're not going to be around that much longer. And I think they would admit that that's not an unrealistic statement. So it's guys like you who are still moving up. You, Derek, some of you guys, you're the future of that division. That division is very exciting. When it first came out, I was like, nah. But now it's exciting, and a lot of times, a lot of shows more exciting than the Open. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a great battle, and obviously, Zane's qualified again, so he and I will do battle again like we've done in the past. Yeah. And it's like you said, it's a growing division. The New York Pro showed that with 25, 30 guys in the division. Yeah. So we're definitely looking forward to this year's Olympia.
Cool. All right. Well, Shaun, I appreciate your time. It was good catching up, getting an update. Congratulations again on the win. It was good to see you. I know you wanted that win so badly, especially after last year where it just slipped out of your fingers. So I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. And look forward to seeing you in Vegas, brother. So for the Ronline Report, it's been Ron Harris with the Giant Killer, Shaun Clarida. Thanks for watching.